You know that feeling, right? Someone says something nice about your work, and you just immediately brush it off. Or maybe a friend gives you a genuine compliment, and you get this little wave of, I don't know, weirdness. It's such a common reaction. But have you ever stopped to wonder why? Well, in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden psychology of why it's so hard to just accept a compliment.
I mean, seriously, think about it. Someone tells you you're doing a great job, and instead of just soaking it in, your brain goes on high alert. You might try to deflect it with a joke, or you immediately point out something you did wrong. It almost feels like you're being set up for something. So what's really going on in there?
Okay, so the first thing you got to understand is that this isn't just you being humble. That's the easy explanation, but it's not the whole story. What's actually happening is your brain is throwing up a kind of psychological shield. It's a defense mechanism that kicks in automatically to protect your sense of who you are. So to get this, we've got to look at what's called your internal blueprint. That's kind of the quiet story you're always telling yourself about yourself. And this is where the real fight is happening, deep inside your own head. There's actually a psychological term for this feeling. It's called cognitive dissonance. It's basically that cringy, uncomfortable feeling you get when something new, like a compliment, directly contradicts what you already believe about yourself. Your brain doesn't see praise as a gift, it sees it as an identity threat, and its number one job is to get things back to normal, so it rejects the compliment.
Let's look at a super simple example. Someone comes up to you and says, "Wow, you are great at your job." But if your internal blueprint, your deep down belief, is something like, I'm not that important, anyone could do this. Your brain literally can't hold those two opposite ideas at the same time. It creates tension. So to get rid of that tension, it just throws out the compliment. It's easier than rewriting your whole internal story. So we know what it is, cognitive dissonance. But now let's dig into the why. Turns out your brain has a whole defense system, a whole set of tools for this. We're going to look at the 6 hidden reasons, the specific shields your brain puts up to block praise.
Yep, we're going to break down 6 really distinct psychological reasons. Think of them as the different shields in your brain's armory, ready to go up the second a compliment comes flying your way.
First up, a fear of losing control. This one's subtle. When you accept a compliment, on some level you're accepting someone else's judgment of you. And for some of us, that feels like handing over the keys to our own story. So rejecting the praise is actually a power move. It's a way of saying, nope, I'm the one who gets to define my worth, not you. The second reason, a good old-fashioned fear of the spotlight. You know, for a lot of people, staying under the radar feels safe. It's comfortable. A compliment is like a big, bright spotlight suddenly swinging over and landing right on you. All of a sudden, you're visible, and that means you can be judged. And that brings on this intense pressure, because when you accept that praise, you're basically admitting, yeah, I am capable. That cozy idea of, oh, one day I'll be successful, just vanishes. Suddenly, you have to be that person right now. And wow, that can feel like a lot to handle. Okay, reason number 3 is fascinating. It's a weird little trick your brain plays, where it starts bracing for a disappointment that hasn't even happened yet. You hear something nice, and your first thought is, oh great, now they think I'm amazing, and I'm totally going to let them down later. So by batting away the compliment, what you're really doing is managing their expectations. It's like a preemptive strike against the pain you think is coming. You're trying to make sure nobody values you too much because, that feels a whole lot safer. This next one, well, this one goes way, way back to your childhood. The way we're treated as kids really programs how we see validation as adults. And if you grew up in a situation where your feelings were kind of ignored, your brain might have learned a really powerful lesson. My needs aren't that important. And that can create this pattern where you feel like you have to constantly overgive just to earn your spot. You're always trying to prove your worth. So when a free compliment comes along with no strings attached, it just feels wrong. It feels suspicious, unearned, and you just can't trust it. Reason number 5 is for all my perfectionists out there. For some of us, our own internal standards are just way more important than what anyone else thinks. So maybe the final project got praised, but you know the process was a total mess, or you feel like you didn't work hard enough. That praise just feels empty. In other words, how you did it matters so much more than the fact that you did it. You'd rather fail by your own high standards than get a round of applause for something that, to you, just doesn't feel like your best work. And finally, reason number 6, pure, simple, emotional self-protection. Believe it or not,
For some people, strong positive feelings don't feel safe. It's too vulnerable. So when a big compliment lands, you might just go quiet or change the subject. It's not because you don't believe it. It's because you need a second to actually process the huge, overwhelming feeling of being seen and valued.
So there you have it. The fear of losing control, the fear of the spotlight, predicting a loss, our childhood programming, focusing on the process, and just plain old self-protection. That's the toolkit. But how do we start putting those tools away? Okay, so we've kind of diagnosed the issue, right? But just knowing this stuff isn't the goal. The goal is to actually change the pattern. So let's shift gears from just understanding it to actually doing something about it. Let's talk about empowerment. And honestly, the biggest, most powerful first step is just awareness. The very fact that you now know why you do this is huge. Once you can feel that psychological shield going up, you suddenly have a choice. You can see it happening and choose to maybe, just maybe, lower it a little bit. It's about giving yourself permission to be seen without feeling like you have to apologize for it. And this right here, this is the end game. The goal is to build what's called intrinsic self-worth. That's the kind of deep, unshakable confidence that comes from inside you. It doesn't depend on likes or promotions or what anyone else says. It's the quiet feeling that you deserve to be valued just because you're you. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. The next time someone gives you a compliment, what if you saw the simple act of saying thank you as something more? What if it's not just about being polite, but it's a small, powerful act of rebellion against all that old programming, the first step toward building a new story for yourself? What if it's that powerful?